Well, I am very busy reading the New York Post, page 6, and praying that my name is not in it. Because page 6 is the widely popular gossip column with daily dish on the most famous and not so famous names. And now the deputy editor, Paula Foldick, has written her first work of fiction in addition to writing for the New York Post. It's called Mercury in Retrograde. I had a good time reading Mercury in Retrograde, and we're happy to welcome Paula on the program.
Thank you for having me. I was walking out here and I was laughing because I bought this dress just for the show, and I'm afraid of having a Lindsay Lohan moment.
No, but you never
No, but if you had a Lindsay, but if you came on with a Lindsay Lohan moment, you would be writing about it on page 6.
Oh, I think that might get cut. I have a little pull there.
So today you led with an item about Ashley Simpson behaving badly. You have a photo of Michael Jackson, rather nice, with his son. The first time we've seen the little boy without it. So what to you makes great gossip?
You know what makes the best gossip is an actual story. You know when you read something and you go, oh no, she didn't. That makes the best gossip, where people actually go, oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Or doesn't matter if it's true or not.
Oh, Whoopi, it's always true. We have the same standards as the New York Times. Seriously? Actually, no. By the way,
I just want to put my boots. Hold on a second. I just want to put my boots up.
Because I remember we did something about you years ago, and you called up and said, Richard Johnson, that is not my age.
That's
and he
right.
goes, well, and you faxed him your passport or your license. Right. Correction the next day.
Yes.
One of the things that you talk about and complain about, and we don't blame you, is when people lie. When you call up and say, is she pregnant, and they say no, and so on. And one of the people you talk about is Paris Hilton, who is on with us this week, and you say very kindly about her that she is a sociopathic liar.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Let me explain.
Explain yourself.
Okay. A sociopath is somebody who says something and they actually believe it, even though it's not true. So I could look at Elizabeth and say, you have purple hair. And you would say, no, I don't have purple hair. Look in the mirror. And I'm like, it's purple. And you look in my eyes and I fully believe it. Now, I knew this from very early on. One of my first times at page 6, I go out to Sundance and I'm fully sober. Total, nothing. It was the beginning of the night, and she was like 17, by herself in Sundance, which I was kind of shocked anyway.
This is Paris?
Because I was totally shocked anyway, because my mother would never have let that happen. She would have been there with like 10 bodyguards and a taser. Paris walks up to the bar, and I'm getting some water, an actual water, and Paris goes, I'll take vodka in a water glass, no ice. So the guy hands her a shot of vodka in a water glass, and she goes, fill it up! Filled it up, and I'm watching her. And meanwhile, I was at where the party was. I was staying there. She then gets a little, a little crazy, goes in, wrecks my room because she had used my room as her celebrity VIP dressing room. A bunch of stuff is missing the next day, and I'm furious. So I write about it. I was like, wow, what's going on? Next day, she calls up. She goes, Paula, it was water. And then I met her, and she goes, it was water. And you look in her eyes, and she believed it.
Well, so you and I witnessed that time.
But many times.
We don't want to, I mean, we could dish all day, and we would love to dish all day, but you would not be happy if we didn't mention your book. Right? So this is what it looks like, Mercury in Retrograde. I had a good time. I said that it's a good, it's a good dishy book about 3 women and how they all come together in the same building for various reasons. But you wanted to write more than a good dishy book. You had a point.
Well, the thing about it is, I didn't want to just write a book about getting the man or getting the ring, because most women I know, it's not really about that. It's about getting a life and earning your life and how to build your own life and getting the life that you create. And yeah, it's got some fun stuff in there because of my job. I know a lot of stuff. I didn't really name any names, but
you disguised the names.
Oh, right? There was, yeah, totally. I mean, there's one scene where they're at a gala and this young starlet who keeps running to the bathroom, you know, those types, and they're like, and she gets on her rollerblades and starts rollerblading around. And that actually happened to me, but at a wedding.
Interesting. I want to ask you about the Just Asking section on page 6, where you'll, it sort of features these blind items that kind of keep everybody guessing. In January 2008, a blind item appeared about a political candidate who showed bad judgment in the woman he picked to have an affair with. Now, we now know that the candidate to be John Edwards. The Inquirer, as alleged, the Inquirer ended up breaking that story, but you had it first. Why didn't you take it upon yourself to break it?
All right, let me tell you how I got the story. We got the story because Rielle Hunter walks up to a friend of mine at a party and goes, "Ugh, I am so stressed out." And my friend's like, "Who are you?" And she goes, "I am having an affair with John Edwards, and I just am madly in love with him." So she calls me up. She goes, "Oh, my gosh, just cuckoo-ca-choo tells you this at a party." And we can't print it because, again, we have same standards as the New York Times. I can't print something, and you call up John Edwards, and at that point, he was like, "No, I love my wife. I never cheat."
I can appreciate that you want the truth and everything, but I think that you don't put the whole story sometimes. You might leave something out, and that I don't think is right. Like if we say something on TV here, and then you'll print something else, and you don't check with us to see what the whole story is.
I always check. Ask Carl Nelson.
Yeah, but then what happens is when we had something with us, you can check, and if you deny it, one does it anyway.
Well,
here's the thing is,
double check.
I wish we had more time. You are great fun. It's a fun book to read. Paula Froelich, it's page 6.
It's the name of the character is Mercury.
Well, and also because Mercury in retrograde is when things just mess up.
And these women mess up, and that's how they get. You have not messed up. Furthermore, Paula says she never feels guilty about anything she writes. Good for you. It's a great way to go through life. Thank you for being on with us. And Mercury in Retrograde is available online and in stores now, but everyone in the studio audience is going home with a copy.
Unscented. Well, you know what? We're all going to go home and use the Downy. I'm going to find the unscented one. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.